between management and leadership? Raise your hand. Excellent. All right. Who liked it? All right. Facebook like, that is. And, and who posted a comment? I know there's at least a few of you in this room. Excellent. So your training for this session actually started when you first saw that post and started opening up your mind to, oh, what is the difference between management and leadership? Now in Toastmasters, a lot of the time we focus on leadership. We're here to develop our leadership skills, our communication skills and our confidence. Well, one of the components of a good leader, I believe, is to be a good manager, because we can create a vision and set a vision and inspire people to take that on board. But what about the actual mechanics of planning something and getting it done? Okay, so that's where the management side of things come in. Now, who has posted up on the back of one of the wall charts in the back of the room, one of the red charts? Hopefully everyone. If not, I'll request you do it later so that we can capture that information. So you've all come up with a whole lot of different ideas. What I'd like you to do now, whether you've posted up there or not, is I'd like you to turn to your partner in just a moment, so the person beside you, and if there's 3 of you, group of 3 is fine. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to talk to your partner about what you think makes a good manager, whether it's yourself, or whether it's someone that you aspire to be like, or just someone that you admire in their management skills. So I'd like you to take about a minute per person, jot down some notes on your handout. So on your handout, there is a space for this on the top left here. I'd like you to take some notes and then be willing to share with the greater group. So go ahead and share now with your partner. Okay, coming back to the front of the room. If you can bring your attention back to the front of the room, please. Lovely. Hopefully you all got time to swap with the person beside you. I'd like to hear some of these ideas that you have. So what I'd like you to do is choose something that your partner said that you really agree with and think is a core skill of a successful or effective manager. And if you raise your hand, then I'll choose one of you. Christine. Excellent, thank you. Who else had their hand up? Peter.
Yeah, Tanya also mentioned listening, but also communication as well. So of course, listening is about being able to get the message across so that people are informed about what things are up to with the project or the course of action.
Okay, so communication, thank you. And there was a hand up over this side. Ross, oh, there's a lot of finger pointing here. Come on, decide already. Did you all delegate to each other or something?
We do. One thing I liked about what Ross said was really change you want to be.
Be the change, okay. So set a good example.
Yeah, that was it.
Excellent. All right, what else? Yes. Mentoring. That's a good one. And what was your name, sorry? Trisha? Mentoring. Anything else? Yes.
To have a vision and ability to inspire
Mhm.
and have your group willing to follow you and back you and support you.
Okay. Thank you. So would we say that that would fit under management, or for a manager would it be slightly different than that? Does a manager still need to have a clear vision and communicate that well and inspire people? It's a question, not a statement. Yes? Yep. Partly. Who would have that more, a leader or a manager? A leader. Okay. So if you're happy with this, if we can put that more into the leadership side of things and understand that someone can be both a leader and a manager. Does that make sense? So we can have some people who might be just a manager, so they only know how to manage and maybe they manage well. And you might have someone who is a leader who might be more just a visionary, might be just big picture and may not manage. And then you might have the person who does both. They're both manager and leader. So if for today we can think of management, and if you're a leader, put your leadership hat on and go, okay, as a leader, I sometimes might need to be a manager, okay? So for the purposes of this workshop today, I'd like you to think in that way, that sometimes as a leader, we might need to be an effective manager, okay? So with that thought process, what other core skills do you think you need as an effective manager? Yes. Delegation? Excellent. All right, we're getting to the ones that I'm looking for. Anything else? So we've got a vision. Let's say the leader has put a vision in place. What does the manager need to do to help achieve that vision for the organisation? Peter?
Planning.
Planning. Excellent. Getting there. I did not plant ideas in the audience, by the way. Trisha? Administration? Excellent. Thank you. Okay. I have what I need right at the moment, so we'll move on, and Elkie, I'm sure you'll have an idea to share very soon. So for the purpose of this, let's say that a manager is a guide to the organisation. They guide the organisation and influence its people to achieve objectives. You're fairly happy with that meaning, that definition to work with today? Okay, so you'll have the vision, and what the manager does is the manager helps guide the organisation to achieve the objectives so that that vision can become a reality. Does that make sense? I see a few people thinking about it. Okay, so the leader sets the vision and the manager helps achieve that vision by guiding the organisation through objectives and tasks to achieve that vision. Does that sound about right? Okay, try that on for size. Let's see how we go. So basically, they coordinate the activities of other people to achieve the results. Does that sound okay? Yep, okay, great. Okay, so in business, this may include creating a product and then having it sold. In Toastmasters, it might mean that you gain new members and those members, you help the members achieve, not achieve, but gain confidence, leadership skills and competencies, and improve communication. Okay, so that might be the objective of what the manager is doing. So in this module that Toastmasters International has put together, improving your management skills, they say that there are 4 main competencies of management. Number 1, goal setting. Number 2, planning. 3, implementing. And 4, coaching. Okay? Today, we only have 50 minutes. So to try to cover all of that, well, we might be able to do a little bit of a splattering here and there, but I don't believe that you'd walk out of this room with really good value. So what we have done as a club membership of Trainers by Design is we have decided to focus on planning and implementing. So today, I want you to walk out of this session having created your individual implementation plan. And if we have time, and for those of you who've done something similar recently, we'll delve into delegation. So how we can take one of those tasks or activities in your implementation plan and how you might delegate that to a team member in your organisation. Okay? Does it sound like that would be of interest to most of you? Hopefully, yes. All of you are in an organisation, in a position where you could manage, whether it be small. With someone, and we'll give you something in Toastmasters column as a project. Okay, so have a think about that one. All right. So quickly on the goal setting part of things. Right about in the middle here is an acronym for SMART. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Have you all heard of and set SMART goals before? Excellent, okay. We're going to do that with an objective. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think about the organisation that you're in, whether it be Toastmasters or a business or another organisation outside of those two. And I'd like you to think of an objective. So first of all, you might actually think about a problem. What's a problem that you're having? So is it in your Toastmasters club where you don't have enough members? Is it that members aren't paying their dues on time or they're not achieving their awards? Think of what the problem is, and then from that, think about what your objective might be. Now, it might be to achieve renewals from 80% of your members, plus get 6 new members into your club this year. That might be your objective, okay? And looking at the SMART criteria, there's a time frame on that. So we've been fairly specific with that. You need to think, is it achievable for your club? Okay, is it attainable? Is it realistic? Okay, if not, adjust it. And then think about the time frame on that. So usually for Toastmasters, our time frame is the end of June. Now, for some businesses, if they're Australian, it might be the same time frame, the end of the financial year. But for other organisations, it might be the 31st of December, for example, okay? Or it might be quarterly. So have a think about that. Have a think. I want you to choose right now. Take just a moment, and I want you to turn to page 3 of your handout. No, page 4 of your handout. And on the top left, where it says my problem or current situation, just write a couple of little words, whatever you need to know to trigger that thought of what is the problem. And then on the right beside that, I want you to quickly jot down what your objective is. So if you can, follow the SMART criteria. So specifically, what is it? Is it realistic? And what kind of time frame are you looking to achieve that in? Just give you a moment to... And if you're choosing, is anyone choosing a business example here, or are you all focusing on Toastmasters? No one's using a business example? Okay. Ross? Okay. Right. So you might want to increase sales by a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount. You might want to increase the number of prospecting calls, decrease in employee turnover. And with that, you put a specific percentage in there as well. Sorry. Just the first two right at the moment? Yep. Okay, how's everyone going? Do you need more time, or who's completed both of them? Okay, completed the first one? Okay. Is anyone stuck for an idea? No, everyone's got something? Great. I wish I was actually doing this at the same time. Okay. All right, so hopefully everyone has pretty much completed that. And if not, you can keep writing as we go through. So with any plans, I believe it's important to refer to them often and to be flexible enough to know that you can change them if you need to. Okay, so with something like this, I have designed it as a 2-page plan, so page 4 and page 6 actually. So you can post it up, you can put it in the front of a folder, whatever works for you to refer to it often. And what you might want to do as well is just put some reminders in your calendars to maybe have a look at it once a week, once a month, whatever the time frame is and whatever's going to work for you. So what do you think are the benefits of having an action plan, an implementation plan? What are the benefits for a manager? You take action? Yeah, well, that's a great one. Yep. You can see it written in front of you? Yep. And would we say it helps us stay focused on the future? So future oriented, what are the next kind of steps, Ross?
Puts things in an effective order, so you do the first things first.
Excellent. Yep. So looking at the order of things, the priority, what needs to flow on from the next thing. Elkie?
Gives you the ability to track your progress towards the goal.
Excellent. Yep. So status updates, how are things going? So you can adjust. Sammy? Or were you going to say the same thing? Okay. Excellent. Monitor your progress. Yep. And coordinate. So especially if you've got a team and an organisation, it helps you see where the different bits fit and what can come together.
That helps your team go present something. It helps your team also be up to date on progress as well.
Yes, which is so important, right? Rather than just you knowing where things are at and individuals maybe not quite knowing either where they fit, but also where the progress of the team is. Thanks, Jane. And did I see a hand at the back of the Ross?
It could or should expose where you need more resources.
Okay. Yes, I like that idea. And so I guess the thing is with an implementation plan and what we're going to go through today, you'll plan it as you think of it, as you're aware of it today. Remember that as you see more of the picture, as you take more actions, as your team take more actions, that a different picture could emerge. So be comfortable, or start to get comfortable with shifting and changing as you go, keeping that objective in mind, and that may change as well depending on situations and circumstances. So as a manager, that's where you need to probably work with the leaders in your organisation and figure out, do you need to shift and change some of those things? Okay. As a manager though, you're to work to that objective even if the course is not necessarily straight as to where you had first planned it. So I'd like to introduce you now to a planning model that I love. I love David Allen's work. So have anyone heard of Getting Things Done methodology? 2? 3? Okay, all right. You might want to research that after today. I love his work. And one of the things that he has in his model, his Getting Things Done model, is the natural planning model. And that is on the first page of your handout at the beginning. And I have included these steps in the implementation plan, so you don't have to worry about jumping back and forth and, oh, have we covered it? what he says is that, first of all, we have to have the purposeful purpose. So we've already talked about that, okay? So what's the purpose? Well, your purpose, your objective will be linked to your purpose, okay? So we haven't actually really touched on that, but let's just say that your objective should link into that, okay? That's for another workshop, another day. What you need to understand is why you're doing it, okay? So the leader will have their vision up here, and your objective should help achieve that vision, okay? Step 2, vision and end result, okay? So what is it going to look like, feel like when it's achieved, when your objective is achieved, okay? So for you to be able to plan well, you need to really have a good picture as to what that's going to be like. So for example, we've got a few area governors, division directors in the room, and members who might assist with club contests. So what is your contest going to look like? What's it going to feel like? How's it going to run? What are all the mechanics of it? How is that expected to be, okay? Once you're clear on what that is going to be, you can then start to plan towards achieving that. The next step is to brainstorm ideas, okay? Now, one of those ideas for a contest might be, look at the contest resources that are available with district, or ask my predecessor, or ask someone else who's run one before. There are a couple of models that I personally love with brainstorming. Have all of you heard of and created mind maps before? Yep, okay, all right, excellent. So the thing I love about mind maps is it combines both the logic and the creative side. So you can just take the things out of your mind and it ends up in a fairly logical way that's still creative as it comes out of your head. The other method is similar to what you've done at the back of the room here today, and that's the post-up method. And the thing I love about that is that you get all your ideas, so one idea per post-it note, just like you've done this afternoon. Then what you can do is easily take each of those pieces of paper and start to organise it without having to rewrite it, okay? So that is the next step in the natural planning model, as you'll see on here. So organising those ideas. So how do you make it now logical? What's similar? What fits together? And then you can start to see that flow. So determine what is important, what sequence things have to go in, what process things need to go in. Once you start, okay, what are the individuals we need to take, okay? So the other thing before we go and start filling in your implementation plan is to integrate in as well some of the things that are covered in this module from Toastmasters International, because I think they've got really good value and they link in really well with David Allen's model. So the front page, if you haven't already, of your handout, and just I'll get you to fill in the blanks as I go through them. So the 6 steps in this checklist, my planning checklist, so on the top right here, are to determine goals, establish strategies, set a timetable, assign responsibilities. So someone earlier mentioned delegation. Anticipate obstacles. So what could get in your way of achieving your objectives? And then modify the plan as necessary, which I've talked about. Are there any questions on those steps or strategies or processes at the moment? No? Do they make sense? Do they seem pretty logical? Yep, okay, excellent. So now we're going to delve a little bit deeper into this implementation plan. So if you go back to page 4, and we're going to now link emotionally into these objectives. So the second rectangle down here on the left, benefits of me achieving this objective. So what's in it for you? Why is it important for you to achieve this objective, to lead your team to achieving this objective? So I'd like you to write that down. If you've got any questions, let me know. And it's okay if they are totally for you. And it's also okay if it's for the organisation, and it's okay if it's a bit of both. So what's in it for you? Why should you achieve this objective or work towards achieving it? And then you can go over to the right side, your purpose and principles. So why do it? So what's in it for you? This is a little bit different. So think of it as far as not so much for you, this is more organisational. Why should you do it? So, in the example of contest, we're doing it so that we give members the opportunity to really stretch themselves and grow and become better speakers or presenters. And there might be a whole string of other things as well. I'll just jot down a couple to start with. For a company, it might be that the company is profitable. Okay. And now to create a bit of leverage. What pain will you feel if you don't work on and achieve the objective? Okay. And it could be as simple as, well, for me, one of the things for me would be I hold respect quite high, and therefore if I let people down, then I feel like I'm not respecting them. Okay. Reputation, same thing. Oh, they're going to think that I don't finish things. That's my personal pain of not achieving those kind of things. Now, if it is business related, could you lose your job? Maybe you don't get the pay raise. Maybe you can no longer work flexibly. Maybe you've got to then start coming back into the office regular hours. Think about what is the pain to you of not achieving your objective. Could be that you lose team members. And then when you're ready, moving on to the next one, my possible obstacles. So what are some of the potential challenges? And this is an interesting one. I know I've written down there, how can I eliminate or weaken each threat? This is something you need to actually evaluate. Is it actually worth the effort or the time or the payment to weaken or eliminate those threats? Do you need to? Or is it just a case of being aware of them and putting them to the side? And if it does come to the situation where you have that, then weaken or eliminate it. Does that make sense? So, because sometimes we could spend all of our time trying to weaken or eliminate threats that aren't really a high threat. So if you go through and have a think about it and say, well, how likely is this to happen? How crippling could it be to the organisation or to the objective? Okay, and rate that. Because sometimes we all have fears and doubts, and sometimes we might spend so much energy on that we're not actually working towards the objective. So have a think about what your potential obstacles might be. And you might even jot beside those how you might be able to weaken them or eliminate them altogether. Okay, once you've done that, the next step I'd like to walk you through is brainstorming. So what are the possible solutions that you can now work on to start looking to achieve your objectives. Now, who has used the post-up method before? I think everyone at Trainers by Design has, or has used something similar. Yep, okay. I'm going to ask you to choose. You can do your own method, but I'd like you to try one or the other, mind mapping or the post-up method. Who would like to try the mind mapping method today? 2, 3, 4, okay. And all of you that are going to try that, do you know how to mind map? Yep, okay, excellent. So you can start on that. So what I'd like you to do is just put your objective in the middle and start mind mapping solutions, okay? So the rest of you are wanting to try the post-up method? Yes, who's wanting to try the post-up method? I just need to know so we can get some post-its for you. 4, 5, something like that. Okay, all right, excellent. Okay, and it is simple as, for the post-up method, 1 idea per post-it note. Okay, if you put more than 1 idea, it won't work when we start to come to organising, which is the next step. Okay, so I'm just going to turn my mic off. Okay. Sorry, if I can just grab your attention, I think I may need to explain this a little bit more. So, when I say proposed solutions, what I'm talking about here is what might be the next steps or the methods or the processes that you might use to achieve your objective, i.e. to solve your problem. Does that make sense? So, does anyone want to give me an example and we'll quickly work that through? An objective? Who's got an objective they're brave enough to share? Christine. Okay, did everyone hear that? So Christine wants to complete her Certificate 4 in Training and Assessment by the end of January. Okay, so what are some of the steps or processes or things that Christine needs to do to achieve that objective? And Christine, and can we just quickly... Okay, Christine, we're just going to quickly work this through for you, so bonus for you. Okay, so what are some of the steps or processes you could go through to achieve that objective by that time frame?
So I have enrolled, thank you.
Okay, yep. Step 1. So Christine's actually working through something she's partway through. Great, okay, yep. What else?
I've written a few things like make a timeline.
Make a timeline,
Yeah.
okay.
Make a checklist of all of the assignments that have to be due. Complete and hand in the assignments, get them marked.
Yep.
Maybe print out the workbook. I've been doing 2 screens on my computer, so maybe I need to print it out. So
Okay, sounds like it'd make it easier.
the other thing I might need to do is find some support, so people I can bounce what I'm learning off.
Anyone want to volunteer for that in the room? No? Yep. Oh, there you go. You've got 2 people, 3 people.
Thank
Trisha
you.
beside you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
So, no, there's some video recording happening in it as well. So, yeah, there are a few things there. And
So it might even be requesting to present at this club so you can have it recorded so that you
Yeah.
could send that in.
Yep.
Okay,
So-
and scheduling time. So you're talking about a timeline. Would you also schedule time each day or
Sure.
certain days in the
Yep.
calendar, like an
that's one
hour,
I hadn't
3
thought
hours?
of. Yep.
Okay, all right, excellent. Does that make it a little bit clearer as to what I'm asking you to do here? And that is a half completed objective. Same kind of thing for full objective you haven't started yet, you just start at step 1. Okay, so thank you, Christine. We might come back to that example in a moment. Has everyone got enough understanding on that so that we can now go to the next step, which is organising? I know some of you have got a lot of things written down and some of you are probably still getting a bit clear on your objective. So who has enough, they think, to start organising those ideas into priorities and processes and next action steps? Anyone? Noel? Excellent. Yep, okay. Anyone else? Only 3 people in the room? Christine, I'm counting you as one of those. Yep. Okay. Can I move on to the next step? Yep, and walk you through. Okay, great. So now hopefully I don't have interference with the mics. Do you want to just walk with me quickly and I will show you how this will work. So if you can just all stand up and follow me. We won't take long. And we'll come to the back of the room here. Now this is not for an objective, but we're going to do the same kind. We'll just group them together so that you can, oh, Christine. Yeah, Christine. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to use Christine's example here. Oh, Christine's getting a lot of value out of today's session. Oh, you are. This is brilliant. Okay, so you need to come up here. Okay, so can everyone gather around a little bit closer, please? And we're going to work through Christine's example here. If you've done a mind map, you can do your own on, I think it's page 5, 4, something. 3, yeah. Oh, I will come back to that. Okay. So Christine here has done a post-op method for hers. So what we're going to do to start with is we're going to put this up here somewhere. Just give me a blank page, something. Okay. So the way the post-op method works is you've got a whole host of things, and what we want to do is we want to lay it out just randomly so that we can see every single post-it note. Okay. And Christine wasn't prepped for this, so it's not really readable for all of you. But let's see if we can work this through. So what we want to do is we want to group live things together. We want to start to get a bit of maybe a timeline for her, maybe a priority list. Okay, so hopefully that will stay. All right, hopefully it'll stay, but let's see. Thank you. Okay, so timeline. Where do you think that comes on your timeline? So writing a timeline? Writing it? Okay. One of the first things? Okay. Checklist of activities. Do you need to do it before the timeline or after the timeline? Well, this is Christine. So how does your brain work and what do you need to do first?
I think to do the timeline first, but what often happens is I don't know all the tasks that are involved, so it actually makes sense to do it before.
Do it before? Okay. Right. So for the purposes here, we'll go 1, 2. All right. You can do it however you want. And the bigger the piece of paper or the board or the window or whatever you have, the more you can spread out and however big the project is. Okay. Complete and hand in assignments.
That'll be a few steps along the way. So.
Here's